Oh shit, I think it's working. Jet, come here, buddy. Come here. Come here, Zach. Hey. Oh. Ah. Woohoo. Not like that. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bored to Death. Jet. Hey. How's it going, buddy? Arr. This is my dog, Jet. I've got a ton of sweet stuff to talk to. I love you, buddy. All right, we'll get you down. We got a lot of sweet stuff to talk about today. There you go. I was dealing with my child here. That's it. Don't mind me. All right. You want to hang out? Okay. So, as I talked about all week, I wanted to do a deep retrospective on the band Loverboy. Why, you ask? Well, one, Working for the Weekend is one of the awesomest songs of all time. And off the top of my head, I can't remember anymore. But, so let's just go with that for now. I left all my notes. I don't know why I am out of breath right now. I think it's because I'm super excited about this new camera that you are watching me on today. Soon to be us, me, Luke, and Chris. But so my buddy John has been coming over here to give me like tutorials and stuff like that to get all this stuff working like it's supposed to. And I am quite slow, so I'm going to take it really. I'm essentially a high functioning moron. Flip. That's right. I said it. High functioning moron. Guilty. But, so I left all my notes about Loverboy that I watched like 14 hours of interviews on YouTube and stuff like that. And, listened to their entire catalog of music. But, anyways, so I blew it. I'm guilty. I'm sorry, guys. But today I figured I'd talk about kind of like current events and stuff like that. Also, I'm going to come clean, guys. I'm going to come clean. I am so hungover today. It is, I got into it a little bit yesterday and then I went to my buddy's wife's birthday party and I am hydrating currently and getting drunk again. So, because those are like your only two options if you're rolling into the day, just like, oof. But so here we are. I'm still doing an episode, so I consider myself a productive part of society. But I totally want to. I got to show you guys my new boots. So there's this company called Helm. I'm gonna try not to like blow the crotch out here, but. I totally dig them. They're like a boot sneaker. Helm's this company out of, I think, Austin, Texas. And they make some real sick boots. So you guys got to check them out. So that is that's my one ad for the day. Helm boots. Helm, get at me. I'll slang your shit all day. All right. Where was I? Jesus Christ, I am all over the map already. Oh, yeah. So some current events and, or no, I was talking about drinking again, wasn't I? Was I? Jesus. I'm actually going to upload this. That's kind of depressing. I'm actually impressed with myself. But, so I wanted to get into some current events and talk about the Jake Paul, Ben Askren, I think, fight the other night. That's a good place to start. Maybe the current state of boxing. This, I am not a boxing enthusiast by by a lot of stretch of the word. But I do love the sport. Like if I had to put my finger on it, I'm actually way more into boxing than I would ever be into mixed martial arts. And that's no knock against mixed martial arts at all. Like, obviously the athletes are freaking incredible. Super talented, have, I don't know, honed in their technique and stuff like that. Like none other, I guess I'm more, and I guess now that I say it out loud, I would say I'm more of a traditionalist. So I like that boxing, more because of that. But I guess saying that out loud, martial arts have been around for like a gazillion years, probably longer than boxing. So I guess if I was truly a traditionalist, I would probably be more into that. But that is neither here nor there, as we say here on Bored to Death. But so, yeah, the current state of boxing, and it's because there's a part of me that likes what's going on, and a part of me that's kind of like, I'm not sure if this is the route to go, but the spectacle is really cool. Because I think we can see where we're going here with boxing. This is one of the reasons I got away from recording, because I keep on catching myself off in the corner, and I want to see like what I'm doing. I'm like, interesting. So, oh God, this is a rough one. Just plow through it, Heath. Just plow through it. You can do this. So yeah, where we're going with boxing, it's kind of going this route of sort of the WWE, and if you don't see it, maybe I'll sort of walk you through where my thought process is on this, and it's making the sport a spectacle, and taking all the things, I guess the technical aspect, or the traditional technical aspect, out of the sport, and replacing that with bigger, louder, faster, whatever, more lights, explosions, things like that. Because it's more visually and aesthetically arousing, and it kind of goes right in with, I don't know, the shit that we love so much about social media. It's like it's more instant gratification. Like boom, 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 boom. Like I think if the Paul and ASKREN fight, went, further than a couple rounds, I think it probably would have became a lot less compelling, and a lot, as weird as it sounds saying it, a lot less interesting. I think the kind of some of the success of that fight sort of hinged on whether it was like, boom, bam, 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 knockout, first round type shit. But so that's kind of where boxing seems to be going. And it kind of has to, I guess, because it lost so much popularity after like the 80s and 90s. Primarily its own doing is, I think so many people were kind of, I guess, were professional boxing and professional wrestling kind of where they, I guess, that intersection like happens, is professional wrestling never tried to pull any wool over anybody. Like we kind of know what it is. It's scripted, yada, yada, yada. But boxing, I don't know, it didn't have a lot of that, or didn't seem to have a lot of that. And then when it seemed more and more often that some fights were getting thrown, things like that, I think that just kind of, that sort of rubbed people the wrong way. Like, I think we just really want people to be upfront with us about who you are. Like, I'm always going to show you who the fuck Keith Ovens is. And I will try to keep it to the minimum of how many times I refer to myself in the third person, like I just did. But I am feeling super Jewish today. So anyways, maybe it's a little bit of that, who knows? So yeah, there's always this, like, professional wrestling never tried to, like, throw this, guys over it. They're like, oh, we're like super serious, so blah, blah, blah. And boxing has, and it kind of, I think a lot of us, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but a lot of us, I think, felt like, lied to, maybe, cheated, if you will, or if you won't. So it got itself into some problems, and it used to be on ESPN all the time, used to be, on these different networks, HBO, and now it's pretty much, you can only see a boxing event on pay-per-view, and you're pretty much only watching it if it's like the biggest of the big fighters, and thus there's no real connection that the fans have with the fighters like they do with the MMA guys. Like, MMA's deal with ESPN, like, they got dudes you've heard of fighting every week. And which is super cool. It's super smart of the sport. I'll keep my personal opinions of Dana White and how he fucks his fighters from how much money they can earn. I'll save that for another episode. But and another thing is too, and it's, pause while I take a drink. God, it's so good once it hits your lips. It really is. Another thing is too, there's this article I read years ago, and it started to talk about the intersection of where the NBA started to explode, like, in pop culture, and boxing started to take a nosedive. And the point the author was making was inner city kids, primarily black youth, that used to go into the gyms, and there used to be this big cultivation of that fighting culture that was going on, in like Brooklyn, New York, Chicago, your classic big cities, East Coast, even down in LA a lot and stuff. There was this big fight culture with kids growing up in the inner city, and you had a lot of white kids, black kids from working class families, that were coming up in the gyms. And then the NBA exploded, and a lot of those kids that normally would have gone into that fight culture now kind of work their way into this new hip hop culture, and with the popularity of the NBA. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, unless you're a boxing fan, it's not a bad thing. It's translated into a shit ton of success for probably, I don't know, and this is a guess, a greater number of kids, coming from the inner cities, turning that into a more successful endeavor than a fighting career would be, because it's, generally speaking, it's short and sweet. Your rise to the top is quick, and your fall is fast and hard. But just an interesting thing about all that I was thinking about. I was talking about this to my friend John, who I mentioned earlier, that helps me out with a lot of this stuff. And he's a boxing coach, trainer, has his own really good podcast called Ring Walk that is really enjoyable if you're into fights and stuff like that. But so I was getting into a good conversation with him about it. Like, man, what's your view on this? I kind of talked to him about what I just said with you guys. Like, where is this all going? And we kind of both came to the agreement that yeah, boxing is becoming more about this spectacle and, bright lights, big city type shit. Sort of. And we both kind of drew that connection where it's like, yeah, it's boxing sort of becoming like a WWE stuff. And I'm not saying that takes away that, like, these fights that are being cultivated by, I can't remember the promotional company, but this sort of thing that's been cultivated by the Paul brothers, and good for them. Like, I think these guys have a keen eye and sense for marketing. Obviously, I mean, they've made themselves into, goddamn, empire essentially. And thus far have been really, successful in, putting themselves, I was kind of say the man in the arena as that goes. I think that was the Teddy Roosevelt deal. So I'm never going to catch myself talking shit about him. Like, I used to have a little disdain for him, but then once I kind of realized it was purely born out of jealousy, I was like, oh, okay, I'm a grown up. These guys, I can't hate on them. I can't hate on them at all. They seem like cool dudes, and they do cool shit. I think they are pumping life into a sport that I think has been on life support for a long time. And so that is, as a fan of boxing, obviously I don't know any of the technical aspects about it, but just as someone that's always enjoyed watching boxing, I think it's super cool. So, but I really don't have a shit ton to talk about. Like, I was trying to think what else. Like, and this is like, my ADHD is going to be super present in this episode, but the stuff, obviously, like, I don't want to come off as tone deaf to what's been going on, because this isn't a show on boxing or anything like that. Yeah, it's a show about me stroking myself. I mean, in a way it is. But Jesus Christ. Oh, man. The social issues that have been going on, Dante Wright, the young man that was that Army officer that was pulled over. I switch so much, going back and forth about a lot of this stuff, and maybe a lot of you have too. And occasionally I catch myself kind of numbing about it, and it's an interesting one, because I have family that are on both sides of the law. Not to say that one is a criminal and the other is, like, in law enforcement or something like that. But both sides of the law, I'm talking about, like, the law and order aspect. If we look at it like the TV show, like Law and Order, I have family in law enforcement, and I have family that are, represent the legal side of that, without giving away too many specifics. And then I have a role that I play in there a little bit too, that I can't get into. But so I constantly flip back and forth into where the perspective I'm taking and how I see this, try to take things wide lens and then like bring them together and try to get like more of a narrow focus. And, God, I tell you, like some of the details, I'm like, okay, I look at them and I'm like, all right, that's kind of on the line. That's kind of on the line. That's kind of on the line. Ooh, I think they kind of stepped over there. Ooh, they really did step over there. Or everyone's thinking that they really stepped over there. And coming from what I know about this, that, and the other thing, that doesn't look as egregious as what some people are painting it out to be. And that's a tough place to be, because obviously that's not the popular view by any stretch of the word. Like I got on Twitter and I made, had some emotional, not backlash, but I was seeing a lot of the early stuff coming in about it. And I took exception to some of it, and I had maybe a more snappy comeback than in hindsight that I would have done if I thought about it a little more. But I got a decent amount of pushback, and but it was intelligent pushback. And as somebody that considers himself intelligent as well, I processed all that and ended up actually having a really good, positive interaction with people, which there are times where it's like there are times when social media like Twitter or Instagram, Facebook, whatever, play this just fucked up role in people's just like, hot take after hot take, first reaction, just like, get like super pissed. And there are times when it is this amazing bridge that can get this get a type of understanding that would not otherwise happen. And in this instance, it was cool. I had a cool interaction with some people that I've never met before. And that is one of the neat things that social media does. I could probably make a career out of talking shit about it, but in this instance, it was great. I think it was really cool. But anyways, to go on about it, that's one of the things I'm struggling with. And so if you are also just keep on trying to keep things into perspective. And when we have, speaking of perspective, I like to bring in the word empathy a lot, to be empathetic. And when we are empathetic, it's kind of like we need to be accepting of like all cultures and customs and things like that. If we are empathetic, that doesn't, I suppose there is a line to where we do not need to become empathetic anymore. Or I take that back. Actually, maybe that's the slippery slope. Maybe we decide too often on what we're empathetic about and what we're not. And like, okay, this person, I can understand about this, that, or the other thing. And then this person, they should have done this. They should have done that. Blah, 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 blah. They're a murderer. They're this, they're that. Where is if we took an empathetic approach to life in general, we may see that certain things, that incredibly tragic, unfortunate, preventable things happen more often than not. Or actually, I take that back. Tragic, horrible, preventable things do happen. When they do happen, we make those things a lot worse when we don't take into consideration that, like in Dante Wright's case. And again, oh geez, I feel like I keep on saying this, and maybe that says something about me, or where I'm coming, because I don't want to. I'm always like so leery about being an apologist, but two lives were destroyed. 3 lives, perhaps, I guess you want to look at it. I think I saw a picture of Dante with a kid. The officer that I'll just say it. I do believe it was a just horrible, fucked up mistake. And yes, it in looking at the facts, it looks incredibly stupid and negligent of what happened. But still, I believe it was just a huge fuck up, a huge brain fart. That's what I believe. I think from what I've read, this officer has no history of misconduct, no history of any ties to white supremacy or anything like that. That's just what I think. That's just what Heath Evans. That's just what I think. Her life's fucking over, man. I mean, in a lot of aspects of it, because I just put myself in that position. Like, if I fucked up like that, carrying that along with you, just like, I know a lot of like my brothers and sisters that served and were in the combat situations that I was not. And when they had to pull the trigger and they saw the end result of that, man, whether it's justified or not, like even when it's justified under, use of deadly force guidelines, even when it's justified, man, that fucks people up. It fucks people up bad. So kind of consider if that happened under a situation that it wasn't justified and somebody still died. God, I just know if it was me that fucked up like that my vocabulary isn't good enough. I was going to say crushed, but that wouldn't encompass that whole feeling. But anyways, so just I'm probably going to end right there. Just as, cause like I said, I'm still kind of playing around with this stuff, kind of make it work. But anyways, just something to think about, something to kind of, stew on a little bit. And, cause perspective is always, I don't know, perspective, context, things like that. That means everything. And it's the only way it's the only thing that's going to bring us kind of close together, because there's always going to be that wedge that's like trying to get in between us. So anyways, something to think about, guys. I am going to finish my drink and hydrate at some point, but love you all. Thanks for listening. Where's the stop button here? How do I do this? Who is this?